The observer and reality cannot realistically be taken as separated. Rather, the two are joined, and what glues one to the other goes unobserved, and necessarily so because of the constraints implied by self-referral. Now consider an image inside the mind. It is equally two-sided. There is something projecting the image into the mind, and there is something receiving the image. What projects and what receives must be in agreement. Otherwise, reality would not be comprehensible. The two operations must be consistent and for all practical purposes the same. Hence, what gets projected finds itself as a reflection in the mind when it is accurately received. What holds the projection to its reflection is again some hidden glue that goes unobserved, undeclared, or is otherwise part of the ether. Nevertheless, this holding together of the two-sided is some activity because we never give witness to a static image. Rather, we see a moving picture. What aligns the two-sided? From my point of view, that job is accomplished by an innate mode of inquiry that serves as a universal and a two-sided mirror cosmology that represents a kinesiology of the mind, a cosmopsychism or idealism. This is found as a necessary condition of what has been found self-evident in a reality rich enough to have image-making minds like ours. As an example, consider this image of Gandhi. This looks like a unified image, but what I just indicated is that the image in the mind is actually mediated, that the two-sided has been brought into alignment to make a unified whole. We can think of these two as the front side of the picture and the back side, and we might think of peeling the surface images off of the front and back to make two separated images that now cry out for reunification.
Thank you, Stephen. I will take it from here. Having peeled Gandhi's image in half, making two separate transparencies with the same image, the challenge now is to align the two transparencies to return the images into something that is intelligible as a unified whole. Something does not feel right when the two are out of alignment, and the tension reconciles when the two are brought back together. I believe the innate mode of inquiry seeks to sublate the two opposing images into unity in this way. My meaning of the word sublation is the same as Hegel's usage, which is to preserve, negate and transcend a concept in his dialectical logic. This makes a triadic relationship, where the concept and its negation show the property of two-sidedness and the synthesis of the two is permitted by the middle term between them. The middle term acts as the hidden glue between the two-sided, and it does the work of alignment, making a unified whole. Not everything can be related to the triad in Hegel's system, despite the fact that the triad plays a pivotal role. In fact, Hegel was against abstract summaries of his work, saying that the summary misses the intricacies in his highly nuanced philosophy. In Hegel's view, the triad could not aid in summarizing Hegel's system. It is here I disagree with Hegel. The mode of inquiry pertains to the triad that he valued immensely, but it alone is something that can be abstracted and summarized in simple terms, and advanced as a universal principle. Hegel embarked on a recapitulation of metaphysics, epistemology, a philosophy of nature and mind, history, ethics, and aesthetics, all done without stating a mode of inquiry that would actually provide a summary of his explorations. His dialectical system was turned into his own unified theory of everything, and he described unfolding history as a rational process that follows the actualization of absolute Geist in the pursuit of knowledge. But were these only the ruminations of his unstated mode of inquiry? Hegel's mode of inquiry will necessarily engage reality and leave history behind in its wake, but perhaps not a good theory of history and of everything else. In any regard, Hegel's lengthy and complicated philosophic dissertations facilitated speculations about the end of history. Karl Marx took Hegel's system and turned it on its head, and proclaimed an end of history to his liking, but here Marx's mode of inquiry is only based on class grievances. If universal principles are to be sought, it may be better to generalize and summarize, rather than run on indefinitely with something that only pretends to be too good for summary and generalizations. Why reproduce the complex territory when what is needed is a general map for navigation? My recommended mode of inquiry is intuition-based, having to do with an emotion that seeks a homeostatic balance. It is based on a self-image that has 3 levels of description, which is congruent with the principle of two-sidedness. Moreover, it can be derived from the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, and it is based on love as the motivational energy. It can be demonstrated during conflict resolution, as shown here. One works hard justifying an argument from their perspective, and a willing partner will work hard justifying the argument from the perspective of the other. With the right training, one person can do both exercises themselves if a willing partner is unavailable. The debate may continue to the point of exhaustion if resolution is unachieved. At that point, the third level kicks in. Surrender both perspectives and let go of the argument entirely. Quiet the mind and engage in mindfulness. During those quiet moments, sometimes the perfect solution bubbles up from the subconscious unexpectedly, in the form of an insight. I believe that insights achieved by this method are highly repeatable with different subjects. Moreover, this is congruent with the Christian understanding of the Holy Spirit, and it carries a homeostat at level 3 that regulates emotional balance. The idea of a mode of inquiry or homeostat that serves to balance the two-sided is not unique to my research or Stevens. Carl Friston advances the free energy principle, and it serves that same function as a placeholder that fills the in-between of the two-sided. This theoretical principle supposes that the mind acts to minimize statistical uncertainty by making internal predictions and updating them using sensory inputs. This principle follows Bayesian methods and carries a mode of inquiry where people act as agents just like scientists work to understand reality. Chris Fields and Michael Levin have adapted the free energy principle to quantum information theory. Fields sees the free energy principle as driving the alignment between two interacting agents, providing a balance and even driving toward entanglement of the agents. It is remarkable that these alternative modes of inquiry are unconflicted with the intuitive mode that I recommend. The differences between them are only a matter of semantics and preferred methods of description. The statistician may describe complex behavior using probability distributions, behavior such as how consumers buy wine, but this does not nullify the reality that wine preference involves tastes, style issues, personal choices, all of which fall under the category of volition. There is no requirement that the result of our volition must be statistical, with nothing else beyond the veil but a random number generator. The admission that uncertainty is only a description is enough to stop it from getting to what may be beyond the veil. The hint is that our felt emotions are beyond the veil, given how intuition requires the third level where insights birth. It is noteworthy that a mode of inquiry is limited to a provisional range, it being hobbled by its own circularity in reasoning. What is beyond the 3 levels of selfhood is beyond its grasp, but it is very competent at what it does do. If its own triadic structure is understood, the provisional reach of its own thinking is voluntarily enforced by adopting what is called a non-binary logic which keeps the self from overreaching. Alternatively, in formal systems, binary streams are constrained by Gödel's incompleteness theorem in a similar vein. Circular thinking is often criticized, but here this limitation is fully celebrated. All human thought is constrained in this way, but it seems we are able to grow into rich perspectives just the same, as our circles of awareness become more encompassing in a reality where this growth is self-evidentially permitted. Given that a mode of inquiry is a private matter that is short and sweet, it is ironic that such a mode can also be turned into a theory of everything. In living a life full of investigations of various types, a life history will be made, and such a historical account may provide such a theory. But it is an odd theory that resembles the brevity-adverse approach that Hegel preferred. That long history only reflects the mode of inquiry again, as our circular thinking affirms itself. That history informs on the mode, which in Hegel's case had to include the pursuit of knowledge without summary. It is better to build the theory of everything in reverse, however, by starting with the mode of inquiry as an abstraction, and building on generalities as they are discovered. Then you may arrive at an actual theory of science. The self that acts as a homeostat must have other selves or homeostats to interact with, otherwise its reach would be too limited for its own good. Therefore, the structure of reality must involve a division of labor. Beyond the division of labor, Michael Levin and his co-workers seem to have discovered multiple levels of intelligence in a single biological organism, representing a collective intelligence. That is putting it mildly. Moreover, the levels are found forming layers of competency, all regulated by bioelectricity. A living organism contains multiple agents working for a common good, forming a hierarchical structure making a multi-scale competency architecture. Intelligence is found in single cells, and this intelligence has no logical starting place, which is highly suggestive of a possible panpsychism. Arthur Koestler coined the words holon and the holarchy. The holarchy is the hierarchy to which holons belong. It is no less the holarchy that Levin has found. The holarchy may be structured in two alternative ways, either in forming a series of what looks to be nested Russian dolls, or by a series of collateral holons. The two ways are also possible in more complex combinations. According to my view, each holon is two-sided and is a homeostat in the system of homeostats making up the holarchy. Each holon has its own mode of inquiry, perhaps the same mode of inquiry that can be generalized as the free energy principle. Otherwise, the common mode of inquiry connects to source and represents proto-emotion. Now that is a theory of everything. But it does not stop there. The holons, or homeostats, as they appear in the holarchy come off as discrete entities. Each holon may exist over an extension of spacetime making a distance and duration. However, holons are not necessarily located in spacetime like other features because of their two-sidedness. What to make of this discreteness of selfhood? This would seem to imply that homeostats are quantized. Moreover, a self with three levels of description implies a deeper connection to quantum mechanics because quantum mechanics is better suited to model information exchanges where three levels are necessary, such as sending information, receiving information, and the unification of these two. Quantum mechanics has long been suspected connected to the phenomenon of consciousness if only because it serves as a very good metaphor that shares a resemblance with consciousness. New Age and fringe beliefs, e.g., like in the cult film What the Bleep Do We Know?, give testimony to this history. Dana Zohar's 1990 book, The Quantum Self, is among the first accounts of this thinking. Today the field of quantum biology has expanded well into respectable science. If homeostats are quantized, that also implies that proto-emotion is likewise something that is quantized. The homeostats might be the actual entities that Whitehead wrote about in his Process and Reality. Moreover, Hegel in his obscure philosophy of nature has described the action of gravity as in doing the work of sublation. If Hegel were alive today, he probably would be suggesting that a possible quantum gravity is likewise doing the work of sublation, to keep the two-sided in the right balance. Proto-emotion could actually be quantum gravity. Now that's a theory of everything.
There you have it. I was outdone by an automated voice named Guy. And I must thank Guy for taking over the presentation like he did. He certainly speaks better than what I am capable of. The difference in winning and losing is often not quitting, quoting Walt Disney. But I will follow Hegel's lead and quit without leaving a concluding summary. I will, however, leave you with some references that are just the tip of the iceberg.